Welcome back to Horror Shadows. Today we're diving into a story that came across my desk from someone who claimed to work security at one of those dead malls you see scattered across America. Now, I can't verify if this really happened, but the details are disturbingly specific. Let me read you what they sent me. The title was simple. I'm a security guard at an abandoned mall. Something is very wrong here. Look, I need to get this off my chest because I can't sleep anymore and I'm starting to think I'm losing my mind. Maybe writing this down will help me figure out what the hell is happening at Westfield Commons. For those who don't know, Westfield Commons was one of those massive shopping centers that died a slow death over the past decade. You know the type. Anchor stores pulled out one by one, smaller shops couldn't afford the rent, and eventually the whole place became a concrete tomb with a few desperate businesses clinging to life in the corners. I've been working security there for 8 months now. The pay is terrible, but it's steady work, and honestly, how hard could it be watching over an empty building? That's what I thought anyway. The mall officially closes at 6 p.m., though there's barely anyone there to close out. My shift starts at 10 p.m. and runs until 6 a.m. 8 hours of walking empty corridors, checking doors, and making sure nobody's broken in to spray paint the walls or steal copper pipes. The first few months were exactly what you'd expect, boring as hell. I'd do my rounds, watch Netflix on my phone, maybe catch some sleep in the security office. The only sounds were the building settling, the ancient HVAC system groaning, and my footsteps echoing through the corridors. But around month 4, things started getting weird. It started with the escalators. Now they've been turned off for over a year, no point wasting electricity when nobody's using them. But I started hearing them running during my night shifts. That distinct mechanical hum, the clank of the steps. The first time it happened, I figured maybe the building management had turned them back on for maintenance or something. But when I went to check, they were completely still, silent. The power switches were still in the off position. I convinced myself I was imagining things. Working alone in a big empty building at night can mess with your head, right? Your brain starts creating sounds to fill the silence. Then I started hearing the fountain. The main fountain in the center court has been drained and turned off since the mall started dying. It's just this concrete circle with some decorative stones at the bottom now. But on my rounds, I'd hear water flowing. Not dripping from a leak, actual flowing water like the fountain was running at full capacity. Again, when I'd get close enough to investigate, nothing. Bone dry. Just my flashlight beam reflecting off empty concrete. Week after week, it was the same pattern. I'd hear sounds from the old days, escalators running, fountain flowing, even what sounded like crowds of people talking and laughing in the distance. But every time I investigated, I'd find nothing but empty halls and dead storefronts. I started documenting everything. Time, location, what I heard. I figured if I was having some kind of breakdown, at least I'd have a record of it. But then, things escalated. 3 weeks ago, I was doing my 2 a.m. round when I heard music. Not the faint echo of sound I'd gotten used to. Actual music, clear as day, coming from the old Radio Shack. It was some pop song from maybe 10 years ago, the kind of generic mall music that used to play over the speakers all day. I approached the store, and through the security gate I could see lights on inside. Soft, fluorescent lighting, like the store was open for business. The music was definitely coming from inside. I tried my radio to call it in to my supervisor, but all I got was static. My cell phone showed no signal, which was weird because I usually get at least 2 bars in that section. I stood there for maybe 5 minutes, just listening. The music was on a loop, the same 3 songs playing over and over. And underneath the music, I started to hear something else. Voices, quiet conversation, like customers browsing and talking to each other. I decided to investigate. The security gate was locked. Same as always, but, well, I have master keys for the whole mall. My hands were shaking as I unlocked it and rolled the gate up just enough to slip inside. The moment I stepped through, everything stopped. The lights went out, the music cut off, The voices disappeared. I was standing in complete darkness in an empty store that hadn't been occupied in 3 years. I got the hell out of there and finished my shift from the security office. But that was just the beginning. Last week I started seeing people. Not clearly, just glimpses in my peripheral vision. A family walking past a storefront. A teenager sitting on one of the benches. An elderly man coming out of the old Sears. Every time I turned to look directly, they'd be gone. But I was seeing them multiple times per shift now, and they were becoming more substantial. 2 nights ago, I was walking past the old GameStop when I heard someone call my name. Not shouting, just a normal conversational tone, like someone trying to get my attention. I turned around, and there was a woman standing about 20 feet away. She looked to be in her 30s, wearing clothes that seemed about 10 years out of date. She was looking right at me, smiling. I just stared at her. The Apple store had been closed for 2 years. "Ma'am," I said, "the mall is closed. You need to leave." I looked at my own watch. It was 3:17 a.m. "Ma'am, it's after 3 in the morning. The mall has been closed for hours." Before I could respond, she turned and walked quickly toward the center court. I followed her, but when I rounded the corner, she was gone. Completely vanished. I spent the rest of that shift in the security office with the door locked. Last night was the worst yet. I was trying to work up the courage to quit. I mean, how much is a security job worth if you're losing your sanity? But I needed this paycheck, so I showed up for what I promised myself would be my final shift. Everything seemed normal until about 1 a.m. That's when I heard something I'd never heard before in all my months there. The mall was alive. I don't mean metaphorically. I mean I could hear dozens of people. Families talking, children laughing, the sound of cash registers and shopping bags rustling. It was coming from everywhere, every store, every corridor. I left the security office and walked toward the main concourse, and what I saw, I still don't know if it was real. The mall was full of people. Shoppers walking between stores, kids running around the fountain, which was running again, water cascading down in perfect streams. The stores were all lit up, their gates raised, looking exactly like they had in the mall's heyday. But something was wrong with the scene. Everyone moved just a little too slowly. Their conversations were just a little too quiet. And when I tried to focus on any individual person, they seemed to blur around the edges. I walked through the crowd, and nobody seemed to notice me. I was invisible to them, just like they'd been to me all of these months. I made it to the center court, where families were sitting around the fountain, eating food court meals and watching their children play. That's when I noticed something that made my blood run cold. Everyone, every single person in that mall, was wearing clothes that were at least 5 to 10 years out of date. The kids had flip phones. The teenagers were wearing fashion that peaked in 2015. The adults looked like they'd stepped out of a catalog from the mall's golden years. And then I realized what I was looking at. These weren't ghosts. These were memories. The mall was remembering when it was alive, when it had purpose, when it mattered to people. But here's the thing that's keeping me awake. I think it's trying to trap me in that memory. Because when I tried to leave, I couldn't find the exit. I walked toward where the main entrance should be, but it led to another corridor I'd never seen before. I tried the department store exits. They opened into more shops, more crowds of shoppers from a decade ago. I spent 3 hours walking through that mall, and it just kept going. New wings, new stores, areas that definitely hadn't existed when the mall was actually operational. It was like the building was growing, expanding, creating its own reality. Finally, around 4 a.m., I found myself back at the security office. The door was open and my chair was waiting for me. The moment I sat down, everything went quiet again. The lights in the stores went out, the crowds disappeared, and I was alone again in the dead mall. I should have quit right then, but something kept me there until my shift ended. Maybe curiosity, maybe fear that if I left early, I'd never be able to leave at all. When 6 a.m. came and my replacement arrived, everything seemed normal. Bob, the day shift guy, made jokes about me looking tired, asked if anything interesting had happened. I told him no. But here's the thing. I've been researching the mall's history and, well, I found something disturbing. There have been 4 security guards before me in the past 2 years. One quit after a month, one quit after 6 months, one after 8 months, and one, Marcus Thompson, he worked the night shift for almost a year. His family reported him missing 3 months ago. The police found his car in the mall parking lot, but they never found him. Security cameras showed him entering the building for his shift, but never leaving. I tried to find more information about Marcus, and I found his social media profiles. His last post was on the night he disappeared. It was a video taken inside the mall at around 2 in the morning. In the video, the mall is full of people, shopping, laughing, living their lives, but Marcus is filming it like it's the most natural thing in the world. He's narrating like a tour guide, talking about all the great stores and the wonderful atmosphere. The comments on the video are all from his family and friends, asking if he's okay, saying the mall looks empty in the video, asking why he's talking to people who aren't there. But in Marcus's video, they're definitely there. I've been thinking about that video a lot, about how happy Marcus sounded, how at peace he seemed, surrounded by all those shoppers from the mall's golden age. And you know what? I'm starting to understand why he never left. The mall isn't haunted, it's lonely. It misses being alive, being important, being loved. All those memories of busy shopping days and families spending time together, they're still here, still real in their own way. Maybe Marcus found something there that the outside world couldn't give him. Maybe he found a place where he belonged. I go back to work tonight. My last shift, I told myself. But as I'm writing this, I'm not so sure. Because for the first time in months, I'm not dreading going to work. I'm actually looking forward to it. The mall is waiting for me. And maybe it's time I stopped running from what it's trying to show me. If you don't hear from me again, don't come looking. Some places are meant to stay lost. But if you ever find yourself in an abandoned mall at night, and you hear the sounds of busy shoppers and working fountains, maybe don't investigate. Or maybe do. Maybe you'll find what you're looking for too. That was unsettling to read. The person who sent me this story included what they claimed was Marcus Thompson's final video, but when I tried to access the link, it just led to a deleted account. I did some digging into Westfield Commons. There is indeed an abandoned mall by that name in Ohio, and there was indeed a missing person case for a security guard named Marcus Thompson about 3 months ago. The case is still open. As for our anonymous storyteller, well, they haven't responded to any of my follow-up messages. Dead malls are everywhere in America now. Monuments to a different time, different economy, different way of life. And if you've ever been in one of these places, especially at night, you know there's something deeply unsettling about all that empty space that used to be full of life. Makes you wonder what memories get trapped in places like that, and whether those memories might sometimes want company. What do you think? Have you ever experienced something unexplained in an abandoned building? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more horror content every week. Sweet dreams, everyone. And maybe avoid the mall at night.